Hi, Kat. Welcome to the Life with Love podcast.
Thank you for having me, Michelle. Thank you for
Yes,
having me.
of course. So, I guess the best way to describe what you do is you kind of help um, spiritually people who are seeking a more sort of like spiritual way of being, sort of helping them look a little bit more into their hearts and kind of helping them find a little bit more of who they are, right? Why don't you explain? Because I think what you do is so unique and so cool.
Well, thank you. I will gladly, in a concise manner, try to explain it. So when we realize that there is more to life, when we find that we are not exactly content with life as we have been living, and we discover that there's something more, and we step into this spiritual path and start seeking healing modalities and seeking explanations for synchronicities and the angel numbers and all the things, we embark on a path of a spiritual seeker. And many of us get stuck on that path for a long time. I know I did. I searched and read all the books and took all the courses and watched all the videos. And finally, what I realized was that to truly embody my soul essence, I needed to come into my body and into my heart and embrace this lifestyle that is intuitive, that is mindful, that is creative, that is fully conscious, awake and aware of the energy within and around, that is intentional, living a committed life with a purpose connected to your values. And that's the path of the heart. And my work has been first to find that place myself, to find how do I embody that and how do I become a vehicle for divine love, for divine wisdom and truth that wants to come through me and be the best version of me and show up with all of that love for my family, my community, for myself. And then how do I teach it? Because I felt this pull towards being a guide for others. And also I was receiving the push from my soul telling me, you're here to do this, you're here to guide others. Now that you've figured it out, and I say quotation marks, figured it out, because it really was not figuring it out with the mind, but allowing it to integrate as this way of being until it felt so natural that anything else felt out of out of whack.
And
So
so
now I guide others.
I love it. And so how, for a lot of us just kind of, we wake up, we go to work, we take the kids to school or whatever, and then we pick them up from school. And the day is so routine. Like, how do we know? How does somebody know, am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? Am I living in alignment with my purpose? How do we know? Is it, I don't know if you can explain.
Well, I think for a lot of us, if you are happy and fully content with your life and with the way everything is folding, that's great. You're good, right? But for a lot of us, we start feeling some form of, I am not content with things as they are. I'm not content with what I'm doing with my job. I have to leave my job. I just can't stay at my job. It's so crushing, right? Or this relationship that just I am not willing to sacrifice myself to be in this relationship, in this situation. Or maybe it's that we are drinking when our soul is trying to pull us towards sobriety, towards something that's more in alignment with who we are here to be, what we're here to embody. So to answer your question, it's you know that you are out of alignment when your soul is trying to course correct you, when it's trying to guide you towards something else. Often you don't know what it is. You just know that this old way of autopilot, mindless, numbing, all the things that we do, the scrolling, the TV watching until midnight and then waking up really tired or whatever it is, that's not working is the first sign that, okay, I have awareness. I have self-awareness that this is not working. Now what? And that's what usually propels us on this path of self-discovery, personal development, self-improvement, spiritual seeking, whatever it is. I'm sure your journey was sort of in that vein, right? In that, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, for a long time I was struggling at my job, and it was hard because I kind of, was putting on a happy face like it's fine, it's okay, but beneath it I was really I was struggling a lot. I was crying a lot of days. It was just I didn't feel good. I didn't move. I didn't go out and do stuff. I think I was, mildly depressed and not even really knowing it. And yeah, I kind of um found myself looking for like, this can't be what I'm doing the rest of my life. It can't be. And so, but so when we do kind of feel that way, what is the next step? Like, what do we? So we it kind of right. Something is like that impetus that like, okay, I gotta sort of like take some different steps. Like, what can we do? What? Because like you said, I started diving into books and things that started taking me then on this new path, and that was tremendously helpful. But I feel like I'm almost kind of in it right now, where I am like searching out there, like, what else do I need to be doing? What are those steps?
So some teachings would tell you that you need to become comfortable and okay in whatever situation that you are.
Hmm.
Learn to love what is and be comfortable with it. I I see the truth in that, but I also believe that if you have that deep knowing that this is not it, this is not it, there is something that's waiting for you because you're beginning to dream about, call something else in. And as you are calling it in, it is calling you. So that next calling, that next path, pit stop or whatever it is calling you, right? And it doesn't have to be as a energy healer or a spiritual guru or anything like that. It could be something that's just a little more in alignment with the values of who you are. And this is where I start everyone off, whether it's one-on-one, any free content, any group, anything. I always say, let's reconnect you to your values, to your heart's desires. Who are you? What do you stand for? What is important to you? And that's your higher self, your soul, your heart that are trying to remind you who you are beneath all of this conditioning, beneath all the masks that you're wearing, all the programming, all the things that I think the statistic is like 95% of our life is run by our subconscious, right? We're not even realizing what we're doing and saying, and it's just autopilot, right?
Hmm.
So the first step is to come back to that awareness of self. Okay, here I am. This is who I am in truth. And also make time for yourself to be just with yourself in silence. Doesn't have to be meditation. It can be make a cup of tea and journal, or sit with a recording app where you're voice recording yourself speaking, whatever wants to come out, and allow your inner world to spill out, because all the answers are within, and they will come out when you make time and space and give yourself that patience that you would to a dear friend that came to you and brought you the situation that you're yourself finding yourself in.
So if somebody is in sort of that job that they hate, or they're just in like a grind, do you suggest kind of doing these things while in that job, and then perhaps you might be able to, maybe some other opportunity will come up or something, or there might be something else on your path if you start to do these things?
That's it. What you just said is exactly it. First of all, don't quit your job immediately unless it's a ridiculously toxic situation or you have a safety blanket and you can. Don't quit your job. Start doing this work, because you will start seeing, one, your energy is shifting, two, your mindset and the way that you relate to your job is going to change. It might become more manageable. You might start seeing, well, I could actually make opportunities here. There is something, there's actually another department where I can be of value, or I could move into the community aspect of my company, or HR, or something that's more in alignment, right? Because when you are so stuck, let's call it stuck, in that space of this is not working, my whole system is inflamed, you just want to escape, you just want to run, right? And the first thing we need to do is bring that down, bring a little bit of that inner peace so that we can have clarity, so that we can begin to turn this inner magnetism, and the heart is the magnetic part of us. So if we can begin to turn our hearts on, and we can begin to shift our operating system from the mind, from the ego to the heart, our heart turns on and becomes more magnetic to the opportunities that are more in alignment. So one, you are putting yourself in alignment with your values. You're realigning yourself to what is important, to your true desires. And two, you are turning on your heart and becoming more magnetic. And as you said, the opportunities will start. Suddenly somebody says something that you're like, what do you mean there is this opportunity here? Or what do you mean this headhunter is suddenly calling me when I didn't even apply for this job? And things start happening in the most magical ways. But we are the ones that have to shift first. We are the ones that attract all of that to ourselves.
Yeah. And so, okay, so I'm a very sensitive soul, I'm a very empathic soul. And so what I find difficult is, you know, nowadays when you can be receiving news 24/7 on social media and all these platforms, and it's so depressing nowadays. And I feel like I don't know what it is, but I try to stay off of it, but I have to be on it a little bit for work. But all these stories pop up that I just, oh my gosh, this is depressing. This is sad. This, I can't believe they did this. And I feel like we live in this crazy world nowadays. How do we get into sort of that centered place with everything going on? That's what I struggle with.
Yeah, there is a lot. There is a lot going on. And unfortunately, it's just part of the world, part of the current reality that we live in. One of the things that I share with my clients is it doesn't serve anyone, the world, your community, your family, when you are in that state, right? What we need more of is for the empaths, the sensitive, highly sensitive humans to find grounding, to come into their bodies, to come into their sovereignty, to be more in their energy, and to become not a processors of everything that is coming at them, that they're taking into their solar plexus, they're digesting it, they're making themselves sick, they're making themselves upset, and they can't serve, they can't be the beacons of light that they came here to be out of this energy, right? So first recognizing, okay, from this state, I'm not being light, I'm not being love, I'm not being compassion, I can't be of service, I can't even give my resources, not financial resources, but I can't give my energy effectively for a cause that I want to participate in.
Mhm.
So it's coming back in your body, recalling all your energy back to yourself. And sometimes it means protecting yourself, creating a bubble of light, like an egg around you, like a bubble of light to protect your energy. And then having a moment with yourself to say, I'm a compassionate being. I'm feeling everything that is happening around me. I'm seeing all of it and I'm taking it in. I don't have to take it in. I can have compassion for someone, and I can turn this compassion into effective action, into aligned action. So what does that look like? And from this place, you become more empowered. So you're taking your empathic skills, your gifts, and you are turning that compassion into action. And from this place, the causes, the passion projects, the solutions, the whatever you're here to share and deliver is going to be birthed. Because otherwise we are these powerless train wrecks where we're leaking power from our solar plexus, we're getting more depressed, and we can't act from that. We can't be of service. And for many of us, we don't have to act and create solutions for the world's problems. We are here to be of that for our families, for our communities. We're
Very
here
true.
to be those beacons of light for them. And it's not going, oh, everyone, let's be positive. If we hold this light, everything around us will shift. It's a little bit of that, because as more of us embody the light and the love, the frequency is changing on the planet. The consciousness is rising. It is making everyone around us feel better. But there is an element of bypassing in that attitude, right? So we do want to feel things without allowing them to drain us, without allowing them to drain our power. And what you said, when you are stuck scrolling, stop scrolling. Have the awareness of your energy.
Yeah.
Why am I scrolling?
I know. And actually, like you said, be aware. And I think too, well, two things. Um, I think it's maybe even weird to some people that like, how can you not be in your body? How are you? But I've I know I'm not like a lot of it's and maybe it's a weird concept for people to understand, but for some sensitive people, like you're saying, you kind of just are able to leave yourself, like this feeling of not being grounded, of not like I'm kind of living over here. It's kind of a weird thing to explain, but like you're saying, the idea of sort of coming back to yourself and literally I try to ground. Which if people don't know what that means, get outside, get my feet on the ground and try to literally get my feet back on so that I can get myself back to that grounded place. And and I know too, and I have read about that, you know, because I have had that thought of like, but I feel like I want to help everybody and do all this stuff, but the idea that by helping yourself, you really are helping everybody else, right? And so that's sort of the
It's like
importance
that.
of it. Yeah.
You can't, you have to fill your own cup first, right? Like you are of no value as a tool, as a vehicle for spirit to act through you, for the divine, God, universe, whatever, to work through you when you are running on empty, when you are depleted, when your energy is draining and you feel powerless and depressed. So we do have to bring ourselves into harmony, homeostasis, emotionally, physically, energetically, so that we can go out into the world and be those beacons of light. Because I think a lot of people listening to this, they'll be like, no, I'm not a lighthouse. What are you talking about? But you are. You are. If you're listening to Michelle, you are. You came here to be that lighthouse. And for anyone looking for a grounding practice, the easiest thing, yes, to go outside and get your feet on the ground. But if you can't, the easiest thing is to either seated or standing, imagine energy going from your head. Just imagine literally everything, all the focus, everything that's in your mind, draining down through your body, through your throat, through your center, through your stomach, down through your hips, your legs. And when it gets to your feet, imagine that your feet are starting to grow roots. So imagining that there are roots growing from your feet, breaking through the floor, breaking through the concrete, breaking through the earth and growing into the earth, and just really taking that moment to breathe and ground. Or another simple one, if the tree doesn't resonate, dropping anchor. So imagining your heart, your physical heart has suddenly an anchor that comes off it, a heavy chain that drops down, and through your middle, through this central channel that runs through your center, this chain with an anchor drops down and drops down onto the ground and digs into the earth, and really feel it and see it. Okay, I'm going to give you one more. The senses, engaging to the senses. Feel, what are you feeling? What are you smelling? What are you seeing? What are you tasting? Coming back into the present moment. Because the news, everything is like, worst case scenario, the past, all the things. Okay, bring yourself into the present moment. Mindfulness one-on-one. Connect to the body, connect to the senses, bring yourself into this present moment. And from
Well,
there, you'll make different choices. You'll say different things. Yeah.
yeah. And we were just talking about more career and job stuff, but a lot of people are in situations, personal relationships where they're married and it's not as easy to just leave, as it might be a job or to kind of, work on that side hustle when you're married. So, what I mean, and this is what I love about your work because I think to me it's heartbreaking. So many people nowadays are getting divorced and, separated. And so how when we're in a relationship with somebody and it might not be working, we're married and we can't, we've made this commitment to this person and you feel like you're growing apart, how can we get to that place of being centered and being the best we can be when you have this person in your face all the time that might not be aligning with that?
Yeah, thank you for bringing this up because it's it is a very elephant in the room for a lot of women who do embark on a personal development, self-improvement, spiritual seeking journey because they are on the journey, but the partner is not. And the partner may be stuck in victimhood and stuck in all the things. And she's like, but I want things to be better. And there's no connection, there's no communication. All of it just seems like it's falling apart, and I have to leave. And I have to leave so I could find someone who is better for me, who is more enlightened, who is more into health and all the things, right? I see this all the time, and I have to be really honest. This was me at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And my guidance was always start having compassion for yourself and for them. Because we're all souls. If you believe in the higher power, that there is something out there, right? And if you believe that there's more to us than just this meat suit and the brain that we have, that there is a higher consciousness that we are connected to. We all have parts of us, our souls, that came here to have an experience in this physical life. We came here and we have contracts in some ways with our partners. Some of them are to teach each other lessons, to be mirrors, to be a teacher of patience for the partner, to be a teacher of acceptance, non-judgment, to be a teacher of unconditional love. For others, where the relationships do get more abusive and not safe, the lesson is to reclaim your personal power and leave.
Mm-hmm.
So first, it's seeing them as the soul having a human experience and noticing, what does that realization change for you when you start seeing them as not just this human with all the stories that you attach to them, with all of the past hurts, all the list of things that they've done wrong, and this is how they always are, this is how he always is. Release that, put that away. Remember who they are in truth. They are a soul having a physical experience here with you, and you're here to watch their unfolding, the unfolding of their life, to witness their becoming a more fully embodied version of their soul. They
I
don't
love,
know it yet, but that's what they're doing. That's the journey they're on, because that's the journey you're on.
mm-hmm.
So once we can understand that we are here for this mutual unfolding and witnessing of each other, what does that change? Does it make you want to be more present? Does it make you want to be more accepting? Does it inspire you to be a little more compassionate towards their journey? Because for a lot of the partners, especially men, when the woman is stepping into this journey of I'm taking charge of my health, I'm stopping drinking, I am embarking on a spiritual yoga retreat, whatever, they feel left out. They feel like I can't relate. I'm not enough. They feel shame and fear of losing her. And it's also a really difficult place to be in for them. So when we can start having compassion for their journey and see things from their perspective, and the simplest way to do that is what's alive in them? I know they're reacting right now, but what's alive in them? Why are they speaking this way? So when we can have a higher perspective of someone else and what's moving through them, everything shifts. And also recognizing that relationships are not just the communication that we bark at each other and we get in a fight. There's a lot more energetics involved. And I see this as a figure eight, from me flowing to you and from you back to me, this figure eight from heart to heart. So when I am looking at you as this victimhood, stuck, whatever, whatever you are, whatever judgment and labels I'm placing on you, I am blocking love from flowing to you and back to me from you.
Mm.
So can you unblock the flow of love? Unkink the hose. Can you allow for a little more of love to flow through you? Can you soften a little bit to this person? And I'm not saying you have to be like, I am in love with you and everything is great. No, like be very, very honest and grounded with how you feel, but allowing, it's almost like seeing your heart as a rose or a lotus or whatever, and allowing the petals to open and soften, to see what is possible, to open yourself. If there is still love in this relationship, what's possible? Can I open myself up and maybe be surprised?
Mm-hmm. And, maybe as like a tangible example, I mean, let's say, um, somebody is married and the husband's on the phone all the time or always watching TV. In those moments, you're saying, and I guess it maybe depends on the situation, but whereas maybe in the past we want to be like, get off your phone, get off the TV, whatever, that we could maybe reframe it and kind of figure out a different way to approach something like that, right?
Yeah, because our reptilian brain, our ego wants to say, it's about me, he's ignoring me, he's acting bad, or whatever judgment label you're attaching to it, right? They need to be doing this, and it's the controlling part of us that's coming at them, right? But if we can look at it from a higher perspective, from this compassionate place, he had a really shitty day at work.
Mm-hmm.
He's tired. He is numbing. He doesn't want to think about anything. He cannot engage in a conversation right now. In fact, that would be stressful for him. What do I really want when I'm asking him to get off his phone? I want connection. Okay, I can go and sit and maybe put my hand on his thigh or on his shoulder or something and engage in a more compassionate and meaningful way. How was your day? What's going on?
As
Just
opposed to just
as
jumping,
opposed to jumping and
and
attacking.
attacking.
Because what is the energy you're bringing into this interaction?
Yep.
Right? You soften, you say, okay, they're numbing also because this is what they've been programmed to do for the last at least 10, 15 years of their life. And that's
Right.
how they cope with the stress. They numb.
Mm-hmm. Well, and something that always struck me too is the saying that people don't want to heal or do better when they're criticized and, nagged at, but when they're feeling loved, right? That's kind of when people can be their best. And that's something I always try to keep in mind being married, that it doesn't do too much good to constantly criticize, that we're going to just keep going, like you said, in this loop or figure eight or whatever. And it's just, yeah, it's
Right.
not going to work. Right.
Love and acceptance and compassion and space holding is a much better tool than the criticizing. It's like donkey. Is the donkey going to do better with a stick or with a carrot? Like, but the other thing I want to add is in the journey of healing, evolving, expanding, whatever, getting getting better, whatever you want to call this, the best thing we can do is to be examples, models of it. And sometimes it will cause friction. It will really be uncomfortable for them to see. But as long as I'm on this journey and I am feeling better, I am becoming a brighter, more vibrant version of myself. And I invite you on this path with me. I don't criticize you, I don't judge you, but the door is open. And we always speak to connect. We don't want to alienate. And this happens a lot in spirituality talk, right? We want to involve someone on our healing path, on our self-discovery path, but they're on their own journey, right?
Yeah.
Like they will have their own teachers, their own modalities, their own avenues. It might be through mindset work. It might be through physical optimization or whatever it is. But as long as we stay open and, hey, I'm going for a walk. Do you want to come with me? You know, it's a beautiful day. Let's go. I feel so much better when I move my body. And just that, the door is open. The door is open. And then there will come a day, okay, all right, let's do this. And then they experience it and it starts something. And I always say, when we can hold the light, when we can be that compassionate, in our power, but soft to the experience of the other, when we can recognize moving through them and not necessarily be stuck in the space holder or the healer position, because that's not what we came here to do either. But it allows for them to begin their cracking open journey as well, because then they feel safe, they feel accepted. And from that place, their journey can begin.
Yeah, and that's such a great point. And that's something I have to remember in my own marriage with my husband is his sort of journey to wellness or whatever is not going to look the same as mine necessarily, where he's right, like eating all organic and everything, all that type of stuff, that it could look very different. And so that's a great point to kind of keep that in mind, that right, they're on their own sort of path. It's not necessarily going to look the exact same as yours. So, right, if they don't want to take a walk every day, maybe that's not their thing, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
And with organic, and it might be the getting sick of something that had a lot of pesticides or something, of having some eczema reaction or something that suddenly starts them questioning their choices and the beliefs that that are ingrained in them from society, from parental conditioning, from all the things, right? And that's what happens for a lot of us. Our souls, our guides, our whatever is guiding us to have these experiences to knock us into alignment, to knock us into health, to knock us into, some of them are gentle, some of them are not so much.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think too, something I thought of just from my own personal journey is my husband, when I first met him, I just felt such a it was like a relief. It was like something just lifted off my shoulders. Like I could just totally be myself around him. And that's it. I could just be myself. I don't feel judged. I don't feel like I have to be a certain way. And it was just such acceptance. And so I've had to I think to be able to give that to each other is is where magical stuff can happen. Right. And I think as in a course of a marriage or whatever, you might lose your path a little bit along the way, but I do try to remember that. And also it's kind of funny because, growing up in my family, we never really said I love you or, I love you a lot, or it was just never really said in my family growing up. And one thing my husband would always say when we were dating, because he would say all the time, I love you, Michelle. I love you. I just love you so much. And it would make me uncomfy. And I was like, I can't say it back. I just can't right now, but thank you. It was that way for a while. And then finally, now it's we can't hang up the phone without saying it. We have to say it all the time. And so I think, again, just I mentioned that story to say that's, I think, a spiritual, there's a spirituality to that, just being able to be loving so openly and to say it so openly. And so, again, I'm spiritual in different ways, but for him, that was sort of his way. So I try to keep that in mind.
So I think you bring up a really, really good point here, because a lot of us who embark on this spiritual seeker journey, we get lost in what is spirituality?
Hmm.
What does it mean to live as an embodiment of your soul? What does it mean to live as an embodiment of the divine, of God, goddess, whatever you want to call it? And ultimately, it is to be a compassionate, loving, giving human. That's that's what it is. It's coming back to that state of equanimity and inner peace and giving joy and giving freely and allowing that figure eight energy to flow through from you and out towards into the world without expecting anything. So in some ways, your husband was really enlightened, as they would call him, right? Because he was so cracked open. He would give love openly. He would say it. He would share his words freely. And he cracked you open by releasing all of that programming where you might have been closed off to using those words and closed off to opening your heart and revealing all your cards too early or whatever it is, because you were afraid of getting hurt or because we don't do that. And here he was. And it's so simple and it's so easy and it's so natural. And that's who we came here to be, these light bulbs of love and light. And yeah, the world is not always easy and sweet and kind to us, but we come back and we give
Hmm.
more love. And yeah, the world needs more of people like your husband.
Tell me about it. I know. Well, and I bet there's some people listening who maybe are wondering, are you able to coach them? Do you like, can you work with them one on one and personally if they're dealing with stuff, which I know they can because I've worked with you and we've chatted. Yeah.
Yeah, so I do one-on-one work, I do coaching, mentoring, I do one-on-one breakthrough intensive sessions, which are 90 minutes long, and you basically, some people we blow up the life and we reconstruct it. Some people it's finding their clarity, finding their passion, finding their purpose, whatever it is. If you are listening to this and everything I say resonates, I invite you to sign up for the 21 days of becoming heart powered. I basically took my methodology that I take my groups, my clients through, and I turned it into 21 days of 21 emails. And you receive an email every day, and there are invitations for meditations, for other things in there. There's a lot of free gifts sprinkled in there. So that's really a great place to start. If you're somebody that struggles with sticking with something, yes, come find me and we'll talk and we'll find if there's a group thing for you to work with, or if one-on-one session. A lot of the time, the one-on-one session is like the key to, because we get through so much, and then you get a personalized email of like a prescription of all the things, all the tools, all the things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, the emails are, I mean, that's something that's a great tool. It's just totally free and there's so much good stuff in there. So, like you
Yeah.
said, that's a great place to start. Yeah. Kat, this has been so great. Is there anything else you want to touch on or chat about that we didn't get to or
I
anything
think the
else?
last thing, my company is called Heart Powered Living, and I
Hmm.
think it's important for everyone to experience a very quick heart exercise so they know what the frequency of the heart feels like, what it feels like to be in the heart. Is that okay? It'll
Yes.
just be like 90 seconds. So if you're driving, don't close your eyes. If you are at home, if you're folding laundry or doing dishes or something, just take a pause and close your eyes and bring yourself to your center. And by that, I mean, if you can focus your attention in the heart space, the space between your where your between your breasts, if you're a woman, in the center of your chest. So not on your physical heart, but in your heart space, right in the middle of your chest. And take a couple of deep breaths into here, in and out, in and out. So allowing all of the energy from your mind, from everything you just heard, just releasing it, and allowing it to move towards your center, to move towards your heart space. Okay, now I'm going to ask you to bring to mind a memory of something you love dearly, an experience where you experienced immense love. So for example, for me, it is imagining petting my dog, watching my sleeping puppy and petting him, or watching my sleeping child, watching them smile in their sleep. What does that feel like in your body? Watching a most beautiful sunset or sunrise, your favorite place in nature, or receiving a hug from a loved one. What does that feel like? Can you bring it into memory and relive it? Your brain doesn't know that it's not happening now. If you replay that scene, it's putting your body in that frequency, in that energy again. So notice how it feels in your heart space, that space, middle of your chest. Notice that energy. And now consciously envision, imagine, see, sense, feel this energy begin to radiate out into your shoulders, your belly, filling your arms, your legs, your head. And take a deep breath into your heart space and out. Feeling that energy, that frequency, that vibration, that tingling sensation, that warmth. Maybe you see a certain color moving through you. And now allowing that energy from your heart space, from the center of your chest. Imagine the energy like a beam of light or a ball of light, whatever feels more right. Maybe it's a color. Imagine it leaving your body and projecting out into the world. And as I'm saying this, I'm sending you this heart frequency, sending you this love, because ultimately it is the energy of love. And allowing it to swirl around you and to fill the room, the space around you, and to float, to migrate out into the world. So take your time to open your eyes again. And this exercise I call mixed love tape. So if we can all do this in the morning, at night, difficult situations, at the grocery store, when we're feeling impatient with a checkout clerk, or at the gas station or on the road, if we can come and play that mixed love tape. It just takes one memory. For me, it's the dog. It's the easiest thing. And when I play that memory, it engages that frequency. There's a change that happens because we are energy beings. We constantly have some frequency running in our system. And if we can switch it to the frequency of love, everything changes. Suddenly, the road clears. Suddenly, the clerk is a lot more friendly. Suddenly, our partner is less grouchy. And life flows. And that's really what living from the heart does, is it allows us to be in the flow with life and not be struggling up the hill or against the stream. It's becoming one with it.
That was so nice. I feel so much more. Look, I literally like my whole throat just relaxed because I can't. That was so good, Kat. Thank you so much. Oh, it was
Thank,
beautiful.
thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. And gosh, we'll have to do more in the future, but this is so great. Thanks so much, Kat.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.